Hello and welcome to another Foundry tutorial, and in this one I'm going to be talking about macros and chat messages and what you can do with them. Right, first the player side. Here we have the hotbar, and that is where you store your quick buttons or hotkeys or macros if you want, and you've got not just one bar but you got 5. So up you go, 2, 3, 4, 5, and back to 1. In a previous video I already showed you that you can drop your trappings on the hotbar. I've dropped this dagger prick, but you can also do that with blessings, for instance. Just click them and drag them, and now we got the blessing and a miracle. There we go, easy peasy. So basically all the things you want you can drag and drop to the macro bar. But you can also use it to do other stuff. For instance, a macro. Very easy to do. Just click on it and it will create a new macro. The first thing we need to do is give it a name, and I'm going to call this 1d6 because we're going to roll 1d6. Or let's change it up and do 1d8. Why not? We can change this picture. We can choose from the list. It doesn't really say much, so we can change it to show an example or bigger. Unfortunately, they are white and they're not very visible in this background, but I know that we want this one. D8. Select file. There we go. And there are two types of macros we can put in. We can put in chat macros, and we can put in script macros. I'm first going to explain the chat macros. These are basically things that you can put in the chat box here, or you can put them in under a button. And let's say a D8 is handy because this character uses a spell or a miracle or a blessing or something really often that uses a D8, so it's good, handy to have it in a button. Basically, roll 1d8, save macro, and now if I push this, there we go. Let's say it's not 1d8 but 4d8. Please level up. It's more powerful now. 4d8, save macro, and roll. Now let's say I want to know what exactly each die score was. Just click this box. 3, 2, 2, 4 together, it's 11. Click again to collapse. Very easy. Another thing you can do, edit the macro. Let's say it's a GM roll. Save macro. And now the GM and the player will see it, but not the other players. Another thing, blind roll. Save macro. And now only the GM will know what we have rolled. How exciting. Last one, self roll. Save macro. There we go. Now only you will see it. But Dread Pirates, I hear you ask, why do you need to put that in a macro when there is a little scroll thingy here that also lets you determine what type of roll you're doing? Well, normally you would use public roll the most, and in this case, if you always use, for instance, it's always a self roll for some reason, you can just put it under a button. You don't have to change any of the settings. You can just click it and it will automatically be whatever you want. So sort of a shortcut. Another thing you can do with commands, let's if you right click you can remove or change or edit them, and left click is a new one. So what's a new one? And this is going to be the catchphrase. I'm going to have my character say his catchphrase. And it's Leroy Jenkins. Sure, why not? Let's go Mimi. But I want it to be spoken by Siegfried. So I want it to be in character. Very easy. Just put IC in character space IC and then whatever you want him to say. Save macro. Leroy Jenkins. There we go. And you see it is noted in the chat box as spoken by Siegfried, and also a bubble came up above Siegfried. Now let's say I want not a catchphrase, but oh, there we go. AFK BRB, because sometimes you need to go to the toilet or something, and it's really weird if a Siegfried would say that, but it's very normal for Bob to say that. So out of character, OOC, out of character, AFK BRB. Save macro, and if I click this, it will say Bob AFK BRB, and there's no chat bubble, and it's, you know, it saves you from typing. If you have to go quickly or there's an incident or something, just tap that and AFK BRB, and everybody knows you're not around for a minute or two. Let's see, what else can we do? Whispering. Whispering is sending a message to a single player or a number of players. If I say something here like hello, it's to everybody and all the players in the gym, they will see. But if I use W, it means a whisper. I then add a target. In this case, Bob is the only player. The target is not Siegfried. Well, it could be Siegfried, but usually it's Bob. But I am Bob right now, and the only target available is the GM. I whisper GM, hello, and now only the GM to Games Master. Bob is saying to the Games Master, hello. You can also do W and then players, and it will whisper to all the players, and in this case not the GM. But you can also do GM and players, or you can do I don't know, Mary, Jones, Jack, and whoever's playing, and put in the names to the persons you want to whisper to. So you can put in many targets. There we go. Another thing you can do is emote. Victory. Emote. Has slain his enemies. Save macro. And it will put the name in front of your character in front of it, and it will say Siegfried has slain his enemies. This last thing, the emote, is more logical for GMs, and in fact I will move over to the GM seat right now, and I will take you with me in just a second. There we go. And because the GM will have more use for this, because let's do emote, and we do licks, so because it's going to be for the dog. Oh. Licks his butt. Brutus licks his butt. Oh, how cute. Look at the dog. The GM can pretty much emote for anything he wants, as long as he has it selected. Be careful what you have selected, if it's the correct one, because if I want to do the same command, if I press the up arrow, it will come back. And I have the wrong target selected. And then I press enter. Seifert licks his butt is a lot more weird than when the dog does it. So be careful, or you will have some hilarious mistakes. Let's empty this. So that's a lot clearer. That's emoting. Another thing you can do, I have it prepared here. You can just put plain text and just plain text, and it pops up there. But you can have that text with a bold or underscore or anything like that. Just to give you an example, what I did here, shanty, singing, and there's this. This is bubbles. You can have them singing. Another thing you can do is you can do this, as I showed you. 1d4. It will roll a d4, but you can also R 1d4. You don't even have to do roll, but R 1d4 hashtag and then a message, because it will print under the box. It says Seifert here because I have Seifert selected, and now it will say Game Master, and which of my players is the next victim? And player 2. I don't know who player 2 is, but the GM will probably know that. And of course you can do like, 6 if you have 6 players, or 8 if you have 8 players, or 2 if you have 2 players. So you can do whatever you want. Right, let's move on to macros. What are macros? Scripted macros, to be precise. Here you can change it to script, and now you can do all kinds of fancy scripting here, and it will execute whatever you've written. Now, I used to be some sort of a script jockey, but that's a long time ago, and I thought it was too much of a headache-inducing thing, so I've given it up. And basically, a lot of people already have done the work for you, so why think of something when you can just steal it just as good? I have a module installed. Let's see, you can manage modules. And one I found is Foundry Community Macros. But if you go to the Foundry website or to the module manager in your Foundry, you can find a lot of macro modules that people have done. This one is not particularly, or is not especially for Warhammer. It's more of a general thing. And if I go to the compendium, you can see here it is, macro. Community macros. This is for D&D 5th edition, miscellaneous module specific. It has some things, I don't know. Pathfinder 1 and 2nd edition. This is to do with rolling, to do with tokens. The important thing to do is when you download these macros is to find out what they do logically, and always look at the scripting. So let's see if we can find something. Share an image via a, no, that comes in handy. Let's see what it does. Edit macro. Sometimes the person who wrote it will have a little description, but sometimes it will just start here. And if you're not a coder or a scripter, you won't know what this says. And it's all abracadabra or magic for you, to you. But luckily this guy, or girl, I don't know, has put some information here. Share an image to all players when you have an image URL. Well, that's basically what this says, so that's easy. Save macro, just take a look what it does. Click it. Output options. This is a drop-down box. It will probably not show up for some reason in my recording software, but it says pop-up, chat, or both. So it will pop up as a image, and you can have it in the chat, and here you can just put in the it's in black lettering. Oh, there we go. You can put in the image URL and then click share, I presume. So, well, that comes in handy. I'm keeping that. That's nifty. There are some others I've already found, and this is a handy one. I can just click it, and here I can select playlist. I'm selecting the Schaffenfest because that's where we are. Toggle, and you will start hearing sound. There we go, and if I click it again, Schaffenfest, it will stop again. Of course, you can also go here and do it manually, but sometimes it's just convenient to have it under a button. If you're prepared, you can just do it that way. Another one I have is roll tables. You probably have some roll tables over here. Create a table, just like, I don't know if I've shown it already, but test. Create a new table. Table description, you can put this all in. 1d4. Result type, boo. Another one, blah. Another one, hey. And another one, stop. Of course, if I have more entries, I can do more. Or if I change this from for the 8, I have to do it D8. Because I can roll 1, I can roll 2, a 3, or a 4, or 5, 6, 7, 8. But I'm going to do it as a 4. There we go. Update. And there we go. And if I now press this one, roll tables, this one is not as nicely done as the other one, but it's a pop-up window again. It gives me, lets me choose between the roll tables, random encounter, roll it, and the benefit of this one is that it rolls just a little bit faster. The result comes up a little bit faster than the actual table, and you don't have to switch to the roll table and scroll if you have a lot of them. You can do it from here. It's convenient, and you can also say random loot roll 5 times. There we go, boom, boom, boom. There we go. That's what we got. So that's one that I found is pretty handy. And again, you can see there's somewhat of a description, and then a lot of code. Another one lets me lock all doors. So just draw some doors here. There we go. They're all closed, and boom, now they're all locked. Convenient if you're using maps with doors in it, and you want through some magical or mystical or sinister event, want all doors to be locked at the same time. There's also one for open all doors, of course, which is or unlock all doors. But I can just do it like this. And if one is open and then lock all doors, it will only lock the closed doors. So you have to bear that in mind. There we go. And I think that's basically it. Go to the Foundry website if you want to find more macros. They're all over the internet. So I'm sure there's something that will suit your liking. As for the next video, I will be starting a series that's called Player's Guide to Role-Playing. It will use Foundry as an example for all kinds of role-playing tips, not for GMs. Well, GMs can find them helpful as well, but more aimed at players, because most of the things out there I find are for GMs, but there's not a lot for players, aimed at players. So until next time, and bye bye.